Hello, my friends. Thanks once again for joining us right here on Kardec Radio. This is Spiritism, a closer look. We broadcast this program every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And tonight, we're going to take a closer look at our mission in life. It's very interesting. So, before we actually dive into the subject, let me just bring this to you. In this book here, the name of the book is Spiritism in its Simplest Expression, and the name says it all. Allan Kardec establishes in one of the items, item 35, what is the primary or the essential objective of Spiritism? And it says it's the improvement of humankind. Okay, so the primary objective of Spiritism is to teach us how to improve. The goal is to reach the improvement of humankind. On the other hand, on the Spirit's book, on question 132, when Allan Kardec asks the spirits, what is the purpose of the incarnation? The spirits will give us an answer in two parts. So on the first part, they say the purpose of the incarnation is to lead spirits to perfection. So if we put this together with the answer, the definition or the essential objective of Spiritism, then the improvement of humankind leads to perfection. And by the way, to get to perfection, we as spirits need to go through every possible experience, every single possibility. And that is why we need several incarnations, several lifetimes. We can't do it all in one lifetime. So this is the first part of the answer to what is the purpose of the incarnation. And the spirits will go a little bit further. They say there's something else on the same answer. And the something else is there is also a second purpose of reincarnation, which is to place spirits. I'm reading this, so we get the phrase exactly as it is, not my thoughts on the phrase. So to place spirits in situations where they can do their share in the work of creation. Okay, so let's go easy on this thing. To place spirits in situations, so we are going to experience different situations and where they can do their share in the work of creation. So let's say, for example, you're a young kid and you decide at an early age that you want to be a doctor, for example. You're not ready to be a doctor. And you're not going to be ready in 2 years or 3. If you're a young kid, let's say, maybe 10 or 11 or something. It's not, this thing is not only 1 year, 2 years ahead of you. You are still not ready to do what you want to do, which is save lives, help people with their health, and so. So you still cannot do your part in the world, in the society, in that thing that you are going to put your effort on. You need to go through, elementary school, high school, university, medical residence, a lot of training. And then there's going to be a day way in the future where now you are ready to perform what you wanted to do. Now you can have, patients, you can have, if you're a surgeon, you can do surgeries. It's a long way. So there's a lot of things that have to happen before you are able to share your part in creation, if you want to be a doctor. And here's exactly the same thing. We as spirits are far, on the stage that we are here on earth, we are far from being ready to do or to share our part in the work of creation. So we are going to have to improve a lot to get there. As we improve, we are also little by little doing the sharing the work of creation. So it's something that there's a specific, well-defined goal, which is to reach perfection. But as we go along, we are participating in the works of creation. But we have to understand this. We have to, prepare ourselves to do this thing. So although perfection is our destination, the path to get there is different for everyone, because everyone is at a different point in the journey. Everyone comes from a different spiritual history. So we are not, you can't find two spirits in the exact same position, because they all have different experiences. So that makes the mission of each spirit, each one of us, unique. It's not something that we can, do for somebody else. No, it's personal, not transferable. And our mission is a path through growth, personal growth. It's a path to the development of virtues to the point that we are going to be perfect. You see, when we talk about mission here, it's not a mission in the sense of a goal as a career achievement or material accomplishments or something. No, it's not this. The mission here is related to our spiritual life. In order for us to do all of this, to go through a lifetime and be able to perform the mission of or for this lifetime, there's a lot of planning before ahead of time. The planning is done before birth with the concourse of spirit guides and superior high order spirits. It's before we incarnate, and that planning includes several things. For example, the challenges that we are going to have to face in the form of a trial or an expiation, the relationships that we are going to have with different people for whatever reason. Like, again, it's different for everyone. In the planning, also, it's included what is the opportunities for growth that I want to face. What are the mistakes that I have to offset from past lives? What qualities and abilities I want to develop or I need to develop? How am I going to contribute to other people's lives? But there's a reason for all of these things to be the way it is. It was all planned. Now, a general planning doesn't mean it's going to happen to the dot. We have free will. And that opens up for the possibility for us to deviate or drift away and drift apart from the original general plan. Free will is untouchable. Nobody can touch, not even God. So, although we have here with a plan, with a mission, we can drift away from it. Now, we usually keep asking, or not we, all of us, but some people keep asking, what am I doing here? What is my mission in life? Why is this happening to me? So, challenging relationships or challenging situations might be opportunities to work on things such as forgiveness, patience, empathy. Those are signs. These opportunities are signs of what is my mission here. I need to improve on these things. That's part of my mission. Improving on these things, it's going to take me to a point where then I can share my part. I can share in the work of creation. You see, a lot of us are spirits who think life is all wrong. They are angry all the time. They are stuck on this performing evil constantly. So what lacks there? What lacks is a development, or the sense of help to the self, to the person itself, and to others. That sense of help is lacking. So for those people, the mission in life is to get this sense of help. So then you can start, because that's the purpose, right? Improve mankind by having relationships with each other. So to develop the sense of help, to develop the sense of realization, when you do something that you're happy about it, and it doesn't have it, it's has nothing to do with money or anything like this. Sometimes we just realize something. It could be as simple as help a kid, as simple as, just talk to somebody and see that that person is lifted up by what you said, something like this. It develops a sense of realization, which is very important for us to identify and align with a purpose in life or a mission. We're going to have to overcome challenges, no doubt about it. Overcoming challenges becomes difficult because we need to overcome ourselves first. We need to overcome the things that we have done wrong, the things that we feel guilty about, that we feel we need to pardon people or to ask for forgiveness. So all of these things we have to overcome. And they are difficult. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. But they are stepping stones. They are stepping stones that will, as we go along and we, go through all these stepping stones, we're walking and going on towards perfection, which is part of our mission here. Improve ourselves to improve humankind. So all these supposedly, quote, enemies that we have, they're not really enemies in the sense of the word. For us as spirits in development, it's more like they are red flags that come along the way that will show us where we have to improve. So somebody who, we think it's extremely annoying, when that person is around, I become very impatient for whatever reason. Doesn't even matter the reason. When that person is around, I just feel very impatient. I want to get away from that person. That's a red flag. That's something I need to improve. So these, what we call enemies, are red flags along the way to allow me to identify what needs to be done and work towards that. Another thing is the idea of serving other people, serving others. This is absolutely necessary. That's what Jesus taught all the time, serving others, serving the neighbor, loving the neighbor. This will also put us on the path towards perfection. That's part of our work on the creation. Now, all these things that we have to go through and overcome, we're talking about things that are difficult. Well, let's talk on the other side of the equation now. We have help to do this. We are not alone. We are not alone. We have help. We have spiritual guides or spiritual mentors, if you will. Those are high order spirits, much more morally and intellectually advanced than we are. And they are with us all the time to help us face the challenges, identify the challenges, and overcome these challenges. Overcoming challenges might not happen in one lifetime. We might need several lifetimes to overcome a certain situation, a certain challenge. But they will be there with us. And their participation in the process is subtle because they are spirits. They're not a physical person that sits in front of you and talks to you. So it's a subtle thing that could get to us in the form of For example, inspiration. Something out of the blue, I feel inspired to do something that I usually wouldn't. And I go do that thing. That's inspiration from our mentors, our guides. This subtle participation could also come in a form of dreams, for example, right? When we dream, we go to the spirit world, and there things are going to happen. One of them could be encounters and with our spirit guides, our mentors. Another form or another way that they participate with us as we go to spiritist centers, for example, for meetings and the weekly meetings, they will follow us. They will be there with us. And because the Spiritist Center is a better, more protected environment in terms of spiritual influences, it is easier for us to be with us, to convey ideas and messages and sentiments towards us. They will show up also they will show up, they will be with us more emphatically on prayers, for example. When we are praying, when we are meditating, these are situations that make it easier for these mentors, these spiritual guides, to be with us, to influence us positively, obviously. So we are never alone. There is always help, always. Now, we have free will. So the problem is we shouldn't refuse help. Now, help is that kind of help requires us to be requires humility. We have to be humble to accept that there is something else, something higher, something much more powerful than we think there is or we feel there is. Humility is a key to everything. Otherwise, I'm just going to be this shielded spirit that don't want anything, don't need any help. I'm good here myself. That's not what we should do at all. They're helping us on a mission, on our mission. So as we go along in this lifetime, we from time to time we need to reflect upon things. We life usually gets busy and we don't spend the time doing this. That's why things such as the gospel at home is important. If you go to a spiritist center, just every week go there. There are lectures and studies. Those are opportunities for reflections, and that includes prayer, meditation, like I mentioned. We should reflect upon our mission, what we could be doing for us, what we could be doing for others, what we could be doing for society. Those are opportunities. Reflect upon inner transformation. What are the things the enemies will show up and show us what we need to improve, where we need to improve. So inner transformation is for us to work on that. So let's reflect upon inner transformation as part of our mission so we can perform our part in creation. We should reflect upon spiritual knowledge, not academic knowledge. That's good, that's important too. But spiritual knowledge, for example, how do I make myself more capable of things, spiritually capable of things, accepting people, not being angry all the time, that kind of thing. How do I make myself more lovable? How do I make myself more usable? Because if I'm able to do these things, allow or make myself more, like I said, capable, lovable, useful, that's myself doing my part in creation. Because I'm serving indirectly, I'm serving somebody else or other people. So our mission is attached to small things that we do daily or weekly, rather than one day we want to be like this particular person, which we think is the greatest. It could be somebody, uh, that spiritually you think it's an example, a good example. So we won't wake up tomorrow as Jesus, not even half of Jesus, in terms of spiritual development. So getting there is small tasks. So we might have a difficult and hard time accepting that our mission in this whole life, this whole thing, is made up of tiny, tiny tasks. We want something big and huge. If we're not getting anything big and huge, it's because we're not in that position yet. We are still in elementary school. We're still not the doctor. And that needs acceptance, needs humility to, my mission is made up of small things. With with our mission, whatever size it is, whatever grandest it is, there's responsibility attached. Responsibility is always going to be attached to our mission. We come here, there's a planning before we come in, as I said, and we have to work towards the best as we can on that plan, but there's responsibility. If I drift away, drift apart, and there are going to be consequences in principle. Our mission is not like a hidden treasure that you have to go somewhere to find it, and it's going to be written there, it's going to be displayed somewhere. It's not this. If you were to search for your mission by finding where it's written, for example, you imagine it's on a piece of paper. The mission for you is this, this is. So if we think this way, and if you have to find your mission, you have to know where to search for. And it makes not even no sense. It makes no sense. If we knew fully what our mission is, we wouldn't be doing anything else in life. And why is that? Because at the level that we are, we would want to do only those little things that are part of the mission, directly related to the mission, instead of doing that and other things. Highly evolved spirits, they could know what their mission is because they know how to handle properly. They're not going to be lazy to do, this is part of my mission. Serving that person, talking to that person, helping that person is not, I'm not just going to do it. Highly evolved spirits will not do that. We probably would, and that's why we don't have our mission written anywhere like a hidden treasure that you have to go somewhere and pick it up. So we need to find our own resources and abilities to potentialize our mission. It's in our own favor. So for a lot of us, there's always this question, circulating or on our heads, and what is our mission? What am I doing here? And then I go back to one of the greatest people in history of humanity, Viktor Frankl, which is a known figure, especially here in the US, because he lived here for a while. He was a professor in one of the universities on the West Coast. So he was a Jewish Austrian neurologist and psychiatrist that spent time in the concentration camps in Germany with the Nazi. So he lost all his family, wife, kids. He lost everything. When he was, that's an interesting story that he tells us. As he was going through the process of Most of the Jews were, of course, you know, revolt in their minds all the time. They wanted revenge and stuff like that. A lot of these people in the concentration camps, they couldn't take anymore at one day, at a particular day. So in groups, they try to escape. Several people trying to escape at the same time, they would run and they would be simply assassinated by the soldiers. So they wouldn't go anywhere. And it came to that for those people because they couldn't take it anymore. They said it's their last shot. They throw in the towel. So what Viktor Frank tells us is he started to look for the meaning of life because he had this idea. If you can find something, a reason to sustain your strength and to sustain your integrity, then you're going to make it. So when he finally got out of the concentration camps, he started to go deep into this seeking for the meaning of life. And he created a whole science called logotherapy, which is the study of the meaning of life. He became this great disseminator of the idea behind the meaning of life. He had to find the reason, and he tells us the way he found the reason is very interesting. The Nazi, uh, uh, they didn't want to simply harm the Jews. They wanted two things: harm the Jews, but mostly and primarily humiliate the Jews. That was the primary goal of the Jews in a concentration camp, to be humiliated. So at one point, they would get the only meal for the day, and the meal was water and sand in a plate and a fish head. Water and plate and a fish head. That's awful. Just a head. Just a head. So can you imagine? You're starving. That's going to be your only meal in the day. You look at it. What do, right? You don't do anything. You throw it out. You just want revenge. You still have to eat something. So that's where he found the reason to sustain his strength and integrity. He would say, I'm not going to do what these other people are doing, just rushing and running, because they will be assassinated. It will happen the same to me. I'm just going to make it. He made a decision. He made a promise to himself. He established, I'm going to make it as a mission for his life. Even though it was a punctual mission, because he had a much greater mission, which is to bring to us logotherapy in all his thoughts. So he would receive this soup with the fish head. And the way he found strength is to look at the fish head and he found the beauty in it. So he would meticulously look at the bones, the head, and all. And he said, this is incredible how creation is, there's a spine, there's all these little tiny, tiny, tiny bones and connected. And so he started looking at the fish head with a visual appreciation for it, praising nature, praising, not rebelling against. So each day he would receive the fish head and he would see it's a different fish. It's a different, oh, look at that. This bone is different from the fish I got 2 days ago or 3 days ago. So he went in. He went on and doing this every day. And he just made it. So he found the mission in his life, which is to put the effort where things are difficult. and see where beauty is out of it. That's not easy. It's not easy. So, to conclude here, what we are saying today, if we could simulate that we have completed our life, so we just died, simulate that we just died. So our life has been completed, our physical life has been completed. Now I'm going to look back at my life in terms of my mission. What did I leave behind? What do we leave behind when we go, right? What was my legacy? So the best way to do this is to write, to simulate, of course, that you are writing your own eulogy. So we're looking back at life, post-mortem, and we are going to write our eulogy. What would be, what would I be able to say and to write about myself on my own eulogy? That's going to help us figure out how much we have done and what's still left to be done. And what's left to be done is what we should pursue from now on. That will be improvement. Thank you so much once again for participating with us here on Spiritism, a closer look on Kardec Radio. And once again, don't forget, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to be here. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Be well.